welcome back to the channel. If you're subscribed, you saw we just talked about Ronda Rousey's armbar system that she likes to employ, and I wanted to kind of go a little deeper down that rabbit hole and talk about the best ways I think to finish the armbar. So again, if you guys are subscribed, thank you very much for your support. I've been looking at my analytics on YouTube, and like 90% of my views come from people who are subscribed. So thank you all for your support. And let's see if we can keep growing the community. Maybe share it with someone from your school that you think will find it helpful. Maybe you guys can explore these ideas together, especially some of the more complex stuff, like that K-guard stuff. It would be nice to have someone to drill it with, and kind of bounce ideas off of. So yeah, hopefully these videos get some conversation started between you and your buddies at your school. And yeah, let's get into this video. So the goal of this video is to provide the best way to finish the armbar regardless of how your partner defends. So first, we're going to talk about different defensive grips your partner can take to prevent you from finishing the arm. And then second, we're going to talk about some honorable mentions, some popular ways to finish the armbar, but at the end of the day, I don't think are the most reliable ways to finish. And then lastly, we're going to talk about what I think are the most efficient ways to finish the arm from both the guard and the top position. So some different ways that your partner can put their hands to defend against you extending the arm out is palm to palm grip, or they could take that S grip, right? Or the 10-finger grip where their fingers interlock here, kind of the same kind of idea here. So gable grip, then there's the wrist to wrist grip, then there's the elbow to elbow grip, and then there's the classic figure 4 grip where they hide their hand underneath your hamstring here. So with all of these grips, your partner is kind of balancing being able to move their mobility and keeping a tight lock. So for example, this is the tightest of the locks, but it doesn't offer very much mobility. Whereas the gable grip offers a lot of mobility, but it's not necessarily the tightest lock. And wrist to wrist is slightly more tight, but slightly less mobile than the gable grip. So with all these grips, they're just balancing those two things, mobility and tightness. So some honorable mentions. Again, if you're subscribed, you saw we just talked about Ronda Rousey, and she had some really cool ways she likes to break the grip here. And this is the one that I was talking about in the last video, but she takes that cross-face leg off and heists up onto her opponent, which exposes her opponent's arm to be grabbed and then extended, because now she has control over the end of the lever there. And another really popular one is where you lock like an arm crush triangle to the north side. So you lock that triangle and the connection is up by your partner's head. It's a lot of pressure on your partner's arm and forces them to want to unlock their hands and allows you to extend their arm. Became very popular, especially among 10th Planet people. They do it a lot. Now we're going to talk about the best way, I think, to finish from guard, and then the best way to finish, I think, from top position, from that spiderweb position. And in both of these scenarios, you're going to see the idea of creating a dilemma is the most important thing. So from guard, you could see Ronda uses this top lock to play the triangle and armbar off of one another. So she locks her legs and controls this shoulder over here, as opposed to bringing her leg all the way around the head and clamping it down on this side. She elects to leave her leg on the right shoulder of her opponent, right? So this puts her opponent in a dilemma. If her opponent pushes her arm back in to try and get away from the triangle, Ronda will be able to finish the armbar. If her opponent is kind of sucking her arm away to avoid the armbar, she's giving Ronda the triangle. And in MMA, it gives a third layer where you can punch her in the face. So either you pull your arm away and you get triangled, you drive your arm in, you get armbarred, or you just sit there and you get punched in the face. That is what makes this, I think, the most reliable way to finish, is because you're playing one attack off of another, right? And in this scenario, Misha actually does a really good job of kind of playing the middle ground, and she ends up kind of giving Ronda a triangle and then escaping that triangle. So the best way to finish from top position, I believe, you'll see here, Garry. Just a quick little side note. You can see Garry using this Kimura grip. He's losing the back control and he uses this Kimura grip to slide right into this quarter juji right here. Boom. Perfect. So in the last video, we talked about how Ronda, better than anyone else, uses the glove to control her opponent's arm. So you could see here she has elbow deep grip around the glove of her opponent, and the elbow is completely controlled. But that glove allows Ronda to control her opponent's arm and uses it to slide right into mount. But when we're talking about jiu-jitsu, we don't have the luxury of having a glove. So we have to rely on grips like a Kimura grip that's more robust to control that arm. And you can see Garry just uses that beautifully to slide right into this quarter juji. One thing I really wanted to emphasize when talking about the best finish from top position is the idea that your legs are the most important piece of the equation. I think when a lot of people are talking about finishes from spiderweb, they really focus on like ways to untie the hands and different ways to untangle the knots of the hands, right? But you'll see here, Garry focuses all of his attention on his leg position, and he manipulates his weight back and forth to pummel his legs in different directions, and that facilitates a dilemma, right? He puts his opponent in a dilemma whether or not you're going to get triangled or armbarred, and that forces his opponent to basically unlock their own hands. So we'll see here, and we talked about in the last video, how Ronda pretty much exclusively hugs with the north arm, but Garry in this situation hugs with the south arm, and he puts his north arm on the ground here for base, and he uses this to heist up and then flip his leg across, right? So by leaning his weight this way, he allowed his torso leg to go right across the belly of his opponent here. So now once he has his full juji in place, he switches to that north arm and he leans his weight to the south. He grabs this leg, leans his leg to the south. Keeps that strong connection to the shoulder there. And then he starts to pummel this torso leg through to get to that 3/4 juji position. And he's able to do that because he leans his weight to the south towards the feet. Boom. So he pummels straight to that 3/4 juji position. And I think this is the most effective way to finish the armbar. And you can see just based on Eddie's actions, he unlocked his hands, let go to try and stop that foot from coming through. That shows how valuable it is to get to that 3/4 juji position. And once you're there, you can play the triangle and armbar off of one another. So one of the things that you don't want to happen from an armbar is you don't want your opponent to stack you, right? If you start getting stacked in an armbar, that's kind of the beginning of the end. But if you're in the 3/4 juji, if they try and stack you, they throw themselves right into a triangle. So you'll see here, once Garry gets to that 3/4 position, he encourages the stack. He pulls his opponent on top of him to lock that triangle and ends up finishing the fight. So in conclusion, the more layers we can add to our attack, the better. I think Ronda's attack from guard and Garry's attack from top are the best ways to finish the fight because they put your opponent in a dilemma or even a trilemma in the case of MMA when punches are involved, So it severely limits their options of escape. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Share it with, one member of your team or someone that you think will find it valuable. So appreciate you guys' support, and we'll see you next time.